Yes, sir. Yes, sir. That's right. This is the Austin Collab Money Talk. This is another show. We are streaming live on the Fishbowl Radio Network on fbrn.us. We also just jumped on live on Facebook as well. So, hey, man, it's a great day. It's November 8th, Wednesday. We are live here in Arlington, Texas. We do have a beautiful view of Six Flags, although it is raining outside. It's really cloudy, but, nonetheless, it's still a beautiful day. We're alive and well, and I'm going to talk a little bit more about that here before we get started. I am joined by a special guest, David Ball.
Thanks for having me.
Yes, sir. Thanks for coming up here. Before we get started, man, I've been, at the beginning of every show, just been giving an update about my Dallas Cowboys. So we did win last week. He a Redskins fan, by the way. Yes. Unfortunately, can't get them all, but we did win this big win this past Sunday against the Kansas City Chiefs right here in Arlington, Texas at AT&T Stadium. We are 6-3. We are about to head to the A-Town to beat up on those Falcons this weekend.
5-3. Don't add no wins to the total. Don't add no wins.
You're right. You're right. I'm trying to speak that into existence, man. You're right. I'm trying to add a win and everything. But, hey, we're going to get that win this Sunday. So, shout out to my Dallas Cowboys for handling business. Hopefully, Zeke can play. I'm kind of torn. I just want him to sit and get it over with, because especially if we get to the playoffs and we don't want this whole thing hanging over our head. But just giving an update on that. Before we get started with my guest here, I just want to encourage everyone to make today great, man. Make today great. Be positive. Be productive. And it's raining outside right now, but that just shows you don't let any outside circumstances dictate how you feel inside. One of my favorite quotes is, life is 10% of what happens to you and 90% of how you react. So don't let any outside circumstances, even if you're going through any tough challenges or difficult situations with your children or your spouse or your job or whatever the case may be, man, don't let outside circumstances dictate your joy, man. Happiness comes from inside. So be happy, especially if you're alive. If you're hearing this or seeing this, you're blessed. Got that out the way, man. Again, I am joined by my man, David Ball, a.k.a. the Dallas Mortgage Guy. Thank you for coming in. How are you, sir?
Doing well. Thanks for having me. It's a little bit dreary outside, but it's still a good day. Good day to be alive. Good day to be on air. So
absolutely, man. You drove all the way from Little M, right?
Yeah. It was a little journey, but yeah.
Right on. I was just telling him before we jumped on air, this weekend I'm doing the college fair, HBCU college fair. Shout out to my HBCUs, by the way. But I had one in Little M, so I made that drive from here, and it was at Little Elm High School. I'm not sure how far you stay from there.
Yeah, it's about 10, 15 minutes from me. I live in North Little Elm, which is actually an annex part of Little Elm. But yeah, I know where that's at.
Got you. Well, if you guys have been following me at all, I like to bring in entrepreneurs, people who are doing positive things in the community, and this young man definitely is. We actually met through Urban League.
Yeah.
I had Devin on a couple of weeks ago. I had Devin Guillen come on.
Okay. I
think we had actually met at the small business luncheon. That may have been the first time we connected, or maybe it was right around that time.
Yeah, the luncheon, or I think we really connected at the. Yeah, okay, yeah, I do remember that. That was 2 years ago. That's when we first met. The year we reconnected again at the what was that event? The business expo.
Right. So we connected there, and like I said, I always want to bring in positive individuals, and I know you're a part of Urban League, and you got some things coming up. We're going to get to that, but before we do, why don't you tell everyone who may not be familiar with, just tell everyone a little bit about yourself, where you're from. I know you're a Redskins fan, but
that is
I'm not going to bring that up again. But just tell everyone a little bit about yourself and how you got here to Texas, man.
So yeah, it's an interesting journey. If you had asked me maybe 3-4 years ago, would I be in? Well, I've been here for 3 years. If you asked me 4 years ago, would I be in Texas? I would say no way.
Right.
So yeah, I'm from DC. Grew up in DC my whole life. Went to elementary school in DC. Went to high school in Maryland. Went to college at the Naval Academy in Annapolis, Maryland.
And the Naval Academy.
Yeah, correct. Yeah.
Okay.
Went to when I was stationed in the Navy, I was in Virginia. So I was in Virginia for 5 years, Norfolk, and then Newport News.
Hey, what up, bad news, Norfolk? Yeah, I know.
Bad news,
Bad news. You know those my stumping grounds. I went to Hampton.
That was right.
The bases out there in Norfolk.
Yeah, so went on 2 deployments there while I was in the Navy, and when I got out of the Navy, like a lot of folks, I really didn't know what I wanted to do with my life. So I was like, man, let me just kind of get a job. And I got a job in logistics first starting off. Wasn't really what I wanted to do.
Sounds exciting.
Kind of linked some other different things. And honestly, I kind of stumbled into this job in mortgage. I never thought of myself as like a sales guy.
Right.
But yeah, just something I liked. I liked helping folks. I liked teaching. And how I actually got here in Texas was I was in D.C. one day and I was like, man, I really like the cold weather. And so I was like, let me just try to move somewhere warm. And I had a friend of mine in the Navy who was stationed here. Not stationed, he had moved here to Dallas.
Okay.
He gave it a thumbs up. And so, the rest is history. So.
I got you, man. Right on. Hey, and by the way, if you're tuning in on Facebook and you find any of this information helpful or entertaining, or you just want to support us, be sure to share it on your social media pages, share it on your Facebook, tag a friend. Call in. You can call us at 214-556-6239. Comment. His area of expertise is home mortgages, real estate.
Yes.
And we're going to get into that. Definitely going to be talking about that. So if you have any questions that you might come up, if you know someone who's looking to buy a home, or if you're interested or been thinking about buying a home, comment, call us, share this on your pages. Go like his page. I've got it up there in the status. I also got my page up there in the status as well. So definitely go follow us on social media, like our pages. And we've been talking about this. We're definitely working to put some creative content out there.
Yeah.
Speaking of content, he actually wrote a guest blog for me. This may have been a few months ago. About buying homes. So let's kind of go ahead and just shift into that direction. I mean, I know that's your area of expertise. So what are some things that you've learned just by being in this industry that you didn't know prior to going into it?
Well, I'd say the first thing is it's not as hard as people think. I think a lot of folks are intimidated by buying a home. You definitely
I'm one of those people.
I mean, you definitely do need kind of your ducks in a row. I'd say the big 3 things with buying a home is, one, do you have the credit? Really, depending on the lender, there are different criteria, but that's really, you got it or you don't. There's really no exception around that. 2, do you have money for a down payment? That's not necessarily a disqualifier, but you typically do need some sort of funds for a down payment. There are down payment assistance programs out there. I tell folks, don't bank on that. They're definitely out there, but don't go into a situation thinking, hey, I have no money. I'm going to get this down payment assistance, then move into a home right there. And then, 2, do you have a job? Which seems simple enough, but you need a job to buy a home. You can have hundreds of $1,000s saved up, but if you don't have a job, no one's going to lend you money. Or a traditional lender won't lend you money, because we're loaning money based on your future earnings, not what happened in the past. And so we have to assume if you don't got a job now, you'll never get a job. That's the assumption we have to make. So I would say those things, not as hard as people think.
Okay, right. You were Wells Fargo, right?
Correct, yes.
All right. How long have you been with them now?
Since October of last year. So I've been in the industry for about 16, 17 months. Wells Fargo for about 12 months. So.
Okay, cool. I got you. Now, let me ask you this, and this question literally just popped in my head as you were giving that answer, because I'm an entrepreneur, right? And as an entrepreneur, my income fluctuates. So if someone was an entrepreneur, they don't have a standard job where they could just bring you pay stubs and say, this is my pay, this is what I get paid every 2 weeks or every month. Your income is fluctuating, and you might have one big month where you make a large amount of money, but you might have 2 down months where you didn't really make anything. How do they look at people in that particular category?
So typically for entrepreneurs, I'll just say self-employed in general, is that typically what it says in papers, you need about 2 years for earnings history. So we can say, hey, 2 years ago you made, I don't know, 50K. This year you made 70K. We can kind of use that as a trend. So like I said, when you're a self-employed entrepreneur, your income is on you. So there's no Target, or there's no Amazon behind you. That's been in business for 10, 20, 30 years that can provide you the W-2. So we're basically looking at your your past income to kind of project. And I know I said the exact opposite a little bit ago, but we're looking at your past income to basically predict what you'll make in the future. So it's real important for an entrepreneur to self-employed to know that when you're writing stuff off, do what you want to do with your taxes, but that will negatively impact your ability to purchase in the future. So let's say you made $90K on your job, but you wrote off your car payments for the year, you wrote off your payments on your home for the year. Now you've written off like $20,000-$30,000. If you made $90,000, but you've written off, and it's not necessarily always a 1-to-1, but if you made $90K, but you wrote off $30K, it makes it like you make 60. Yeah, you make $60K. I mean,
and that impact. Okay, I can see what you're saying.
And so I think that's one thing people don't realize is that unfortunately you have to decline folks sometimes just because on paper they can pay for it, but they've written off almost 80% of their income, and so
hold on, what? Hold on. On paper they could have paid for it.
Well, so for instance, I had a situation this year where a guy's been living in his home for 5 years, so obviously he's not been late on any payments.
Right.
But he's trying to refinance his home. Mm-hmm. He drives. I'm not giving too much information. He drives for Uber. He does some other stuff, and so
hey, shout out to Uber.
He writes off a lot of stuff, and so even though he makes like $60,000-$70,000, he wrote off so much stuff that he makes about $12,000 on paper. So even though obviously he's living in the home, he's making the mortgage payments, he's trying to refinance, do some other stuff. We weren't able to refinance him just because his income is $12,000 as far as we can tell. Even though he's pulling in his income is $1,200 a month, even though he's really pulling in about $5,000 a month. We can only use $1,200 of that payment. So unfortunately, in real life he qualifies because he's been making the payments. He's not been late, but on paper, which is what counts, unfortunately, in the industry, he does not qualify. And so I'm talking from a perspective of a traditional lender. I mean, there are other venues out there for folks that are making money different ways, hard money lending. But I'm talking from a traditional lending standpoint. Is what I'm referring to when I'm talking here.
Now, me and my girl, I've said this a few times, but we went to a real estate conference, I don't know, 2 or 3 years ago, and it was really enlightening. We learned a lot of different things, but that was the first time I heard about hard money lenders. Mm-hmm. So for people who may not know what that is, can you just explain just a little bit about what a hard money lender is?
So honestly, I'm not super well versed in that because that's my area of expertise, but I think kind of the general understanding is that you have an asset. They're basically lending based on an asset, whether it be a house you own, whether it be, hey, you got $100,000 in your bank account. So they're lending based on the assets. And so if that's your option, that's your option. I'm not saying don't pursue it, but typically the rates are a little bit higher because you're not lending based on, quote unquote traditional. I'm doing air quotes because you listen on the radio, quote unquote traditional criteria being that, hey, job, credit, etc.
Got you. Okay, I got it. Now, you just bought your home. You and your wife, you just bought your home not too long ago?
Yeah. So we purchased a home September of last year. Mm-hmm. So our first home together. Yeah.
Okay, cool. So I know you're into helping people get into homes or get qualified to, purchase a home. One blog that I'm working on, we were just talking about writing, but my girl, she just bought her first house last year. So I'm like, you know what? I'm going to write a blog on like things that first time home buyers should know when they just move in.
Okay.
What are some tips or suggestions that you would give to someone once they already got, apply or approved for their credit, they got finance, they're in the house now. Now what do they need to know once they have the house? Because it's a lot different from renting.
Yeah, so I would say one is make sure you're preparing for the unexpected. I mean, if you're renting, something breaks, the landlord's going to fix that. But prepare for unexpected expenses. And I'd say one thing I didn't even prepare for is, when we purchased a home, I had a condo. My fiance had an apartment, and so we had 2 sets of furniture. So my thought was, hey, we're gonna move into this house. We got more than enough furniture. I didn't budget furniture into my budget. So somehow between her apartment and my place, somehow we had no furniture for our house. I'm not sure how that worked out, but we had to buy a whole set of stuff for the living room.
Yeah.
We had to buy a whole bedroom set.
Yeah.
Yeah, somehow between two homes we had no furniture. So like,
yeah.
I mean, I hadn't factored that into my budget at all. Fortunately, I had the money saved up that we could go, that we were able to purchase. And I guess if I didn't have the money, we wouldn't have purchased. So I guess that kind of
this would have been empty.
that kind of fit itself. But yeah, I'd say, especially if you're moving in with the female, like they're going to want new stuff. Like your stuff is they're not having it, unless maybe if you were living together to begin with. But they're not going to want to sleep in your whole bed.
Bro, it's funny because at my old apartment before I moved out, I had this bed. I didn't think nothing was wrong with it, but my girl despised that bed. She was like, "Why are you even moving that bed out of your apartment into your storage? Just throw it away." Like,
but yes, I mean, like all my stuff was not all my stuff was new, but like my bed, because I had actually moved into that place before I met her for less than a year. So like my bed was new. I had the memory foam mattress. I was like, man, I was living life. I thought I had all this nice furniture, but yeah, she wasn't having it. That bed is at least is upstairs.
Right.
You know, we don't use it. It's like a guest bed, but
right.
Yeah,
Throwing it in the guest room.
Yeah, everything downstairs is like brand new. So that was an expense I wasn't expecting. Mm-hmm. I would say stuff like maintenance. You know, depending on you know, kind of what your warranty situation is like. Right. That'll be a big thing you have to deal with. I know. We bought a new home, so a lot of stuff was under warranty, but we've had, that's what I was talking about, I had to deal with today. We had an issue with our shower that needed to be fixed.
Right.
We had an issue with our AC unit that needed to be fixed. We had our door just fell off the hinge one day. Yeah. We had an issue with our fence. So potentially, it's still in the warranty, potentially that's thousands of dollars of repairs that we would have to deal with moving into a home. So there's always, you have some money tucked away just for whatever.
And that was the first thing I wrote down, maintenance fund. Because I saw what happened with my girl. She had similar things happen. Like, she ended up buying new furniture and new things as well. But then when something broke down, like, you have to take care of it yourself or do it yourself. So do you consider yourself like the handyman type? Because my girl hadn't had me up under the sink trying to replace I'm like, hey, this ain't me.
No,
that's not me. We need to call somebody.
Not by any stretch of the imagination. No, so like I said, we've been in the place for a little bit over a year. My wife's still been trying to get me to put knobs on the cabinet. I don't even know how to do that because I'm scared of drilling a hole in the wrong place and ruining the cabinet. So I can't. I mean, I can do basic stuff. I mean, I'm like a YouTube.
I mean, everything is on YouTube.
Yes, YouTube, I can find out how to do this or that. So if it's basic, I'll get my hand at it. But yeah, I don't try to do anything big just because I figure I'll do more. I can do more damage than I could do.
Right. We definitely gonna need to end up calling someone.
Yeah.
Really. Now I follow you on Facebook. I see you're out here doing a lot of positive things, but I noticed some of the things that you've been posting. I think it is on Mondays maybe, but you call them, is it Mortgage Myths?
Oh yeah, Mortgage Tip Monday. I do it on Monday.
Mortgage Tip Monday.
Yeah, I just try to throw out something that has to do with the mortgage industry. It's like one, conversation starter. Someone say, hey, I didn't know this or that. But yeah, there's just a lot of misconceptions that folks don't
What is
realize.
one misconception?
So I don't know, I forgot what I posted this week, but last week I posted, like the old myth was you need 20% down to buy a home. There's still folks that think you do need the 20% down to buy a home. But I think kind of the new myth is you need 5% down to buy a home. Is, if I don't have this 5% down, I'm not in a position to buy a home. And so there are a lot of different options out there for you, and not including like down payment assistance or special programs. You can do an FHA loan, 3.5% down. You can do a conventional loan, 3% down. So, and then there are other options out there. A lot of lenders have different things here or there where they'll pay for 1% or 2 there. But I think the biggest misperception is the amount of money you need to purchase a home, and that there's not down payment assistance out there. There are programs here in Texas where if you make less than $72,000, you can qualify for up to 5% down payment assistance. So
5% doesn't seem like a lot though.
Well, so if you're putting down 3% on the home, and you're getting 5% of assistance on top of that. So when you factor in closing costs, typically you may bring like $1,000-$2,000 to the table or less. Mm-hmm. If you're purchasing a home that's $200,000, 5% of that is $10,000. So you can get $10,000 in down payment assistance. So one thing I always tell folks is that nothing is free. So typically with down payment assistance, you're paying for the down payment assistance through the interest rate. But
so interest rate will probably be higher.
Interest rate is a little bit higher, but I mean that's $10,000 you're getting now instead of in the future. So it's definitely a good program out there. But yeah, I try to tell that and other little tips, just folks, stuff that I think the average person doesn't know about the mortgage process or common misperceptions or a tip they can help you here or there. Because the worst thing I see is when folks go to apply for a loan, and it's like 2-3 months before their lease is up, and they're like, let me apply for this loan. And at that point, I really can't do anything for you. Either you qualify or you don't when you're that 2-3 month part. So if you can start preparing maybe at the 6-month mark or a year out is when I think folks will start preparing, especially if they think they're borderline, they don't know their credit, they don't know the money they need for a down payment. You should at least try to start preparing at least about 6 months out, just so
6 months.
Yeah. So once you get to that part to where you're qualifying, that you're qualified, because like I said, at that point, a lot of times you can't do anything for that person. So you either have the credit and the down payment or you don't, unfortunately. So
right on. One of the things I like about you, David, is that although you're working your career, you're working on helping people, especially get into homes and things like that, but you're doing things outside of that. You're actively involved in the community. And I don't know, maybe a couple of months ago, I was actually a guest on his show.
Okay, yeah.
He is also the host and founder of Drew Television.
Yeah, Dallas Real Estate, Entrepreneurship, and
whatever
else. Yeah.
All right on. So tell us a little bit more about that and how that got started.
So it kind of got started because I know, being in my industry, or if you need to kind of put out content, so folks can know what you do. If no one knows what you do, it's hard to make a sale. So I was like, hey, I need to start putting out content. And so one thing I thought about was I would start writing a blog. And I had this all in my head. I had this website set up.
Yeah.
I was going to, start putting out content every week. And I actually wrote something for you.
Yes, sir.
And one thing I realized was, man, I hate writing. And so I started to write a blog, and it took me like 3 or 4 weeks actually to write the blog. I was like, man, I can't do this. So I was like, what can I do? Otherwise, so I was like, let me start doing some videos. So I started doing little minute videos for myself, and I was like, okay, that's cool. That may get a little bit stale. So I was like, okay, let me listen to Gary Vee. I was like, a good thing to do is collaborate with other folks. So I was like, okay, what I can do? I can interview other folks that are in the industry, real estate, other topics, to kind of get their viewpoint on their industry. Honestly, kind of promote them, going to like the 5149 principle.
There you go.
Start promoting other folks. Eventually things will come back around on my end. So I started.
There you go. I'm with you.
Yeah. So I just started interviewing other folks and learn about what they have to do. Help kind of promote them on my platform. And that's how it really started. It was through me figuring out that I didn't want to write. So I interview folks in real estate, entrepreneurship. Topics that are kind of related to finance and real estate. And I've had some other interesting folks too, like trainers on there. I'm trying to get a cook on there, so we'll see.
A cook?
Yeah.
Hey man, I know one. You trying to refer me to people? I'm gonna send someone your way. My girl, she actually came on the show. She's a chef, got a little food truck, and has done private events, private different type of events. Worked on a TV set, so just cooking.
Oh, okay, cool. So yeah, like I said, it's all about just expanding your network. The better that the folks in your circle do, the better you do. So I figure things. Nothing's a one-on-one. Hey, you come on my show, I'm gonna get a deal. Nothing's a one-on-one, but you just kind of get stuff. I don't know. Good conversations to come back around. That's what I've kind of seen.
Absolutely. Hey, dig this. If y'all are checking this out on Facebook, I actually tagged his page on there, both his pages, the Drew Television and the Dallas or the Dallas Mortgage Guy. So go in there and like that as well.
Thank you,
again, if you find any of this information helpful, make sure you share it on your social media pages, share it on your Facebook, tag someone, like it. And you're on Instagram too, right?
Yeah, see, I have a couple Instagrams. One is Dallas Mortgage Guy. Actually, that's probably my personal one. I just post like pictures and stuff on there. Then I have the Dallas Mortgage Guy, which is kind of my business, which I need to get back more active on, actually.
Yeah. Man, I had that same dilemma. Like, I had two, and I was really trying hard to manage both of them. And I said, you know what, man, I'm just going to combine this into one, because I am the Austin Collab. So this is my brand. I won't pay. I post some of my personal stuff, but it's more so just about me being an entrepreneur and things that I'm working on and motivational things. So I'm like, man, I'm trying to combine this into one and work on building one, you know? So I kind of had that.
Yeah, and I kind of fell off too, because like I used to have this thing where I used to be real like scripted, hey, I need to post this in this format. And so that was hard. I kind of fell off that. And then like, going back to Gary Vee, just document, you know what I mean? Like this is a post right here. And so I started doing that for a bit, and then honestly I fell off on that. So I'm glad you brought it back, because I need to just get back out there to start documenting. Every post doesn't have to be, super, formatted or official. So. I'm with
you. Hey, this is the Ray. This is the Austin Collab Money Talk. We are streaming live on the Fishbowl Radio Network, fbrn.us, also live on Facebook. If you're listening out there or watching it out there, again, we do appreciate your support. Feel free to share these on your pages as well. Gary Vee. I like Gary Vee. He's really inspirational, successful, financially successful, doing a lot of big things. Are there any other entrepreneurs or people out there that you kind of follow their content and check them out? Because I'm always looking for.
Got the Gary Vee quote right there.
Hey, man, for real. I'm all about that, man. Nothing trumps hard work and putting in the work. Nothing beats that. If you're out there working and grinding and putting the work, eventually something's going to pop. It just doesn't work that way. Like, if you plant a whole bunch of seeds in fertile land, eventually something's going to grow. So I'm with that.
So, I mean, I'd say that's really the person who I say I listen to the most. So, really? I mean, I follow his podcast. Read his posts. But I'm trying to think. I really don't follow any. I think I follow like Damon John. I'll see some of his stuff. But as far as people who I actually listen to, is like Gary Vee. It's interesting because he'll post every now and then. Like, what are you doing on Facebook? You should be out there working, anyways. Which I always find is comical.
Get off my phone.
But yeah, motivating. That's the person I listen to the most, really. And just because he'll tell you, hey, stop listening to me, go out there and work. You're not going to be productive. You're just sitting there, reading his posts or listen to his podcast. But he'll say, get out there and do the work. So that's kind of the number one in one A as far as Gary Vee for me. But I'd say honestly, like, just other folks kind of in my circle as well. You see folks on Facebook doing their thing, and it's kind of motivating to me. So
I agree. I got a lot of positive people in my circle that are doing big things. So they definitely inspired me to get off my ass and get out there and get active.
Yeah.
And that is one thing that you're doing. You're out there and you're active. And like I said, we met through Urban League and your involvement in that. Now you guys got something coming up. Is it tomorrow? Is it Empowerment Day?
Yeah, tomorrow at South Oak Cliff High School. Yeah, that's where I'll be there.
Shout out to Sock, baby.
Yeah, and so it's National Day of Empowerment. So we're going to we're probably going to meet with about 100 or so students. And basically, a couple of us from the organization are going to basically kind of break out, go to the classroom to talk to students about finances, about credit. Making sure your affairs are in order. Because a lot of times, unfortunately, folks really don't have that money discussion until it's too late. Until it's time to buy a home, it's time to buy a car, and I need credit. What is credit? Oh, I needed to pay that bill, or this bill I paid late 3 years ago.
Yeah.
Oh, that's why I have a low credit score. So unfortunately, like, that conversation doesn't happen a lot of times. Honestly, it never happened in my household. That direct conversation. Fortunately, I was in a position where my parents kind of set me for success. Maybe that's why we never had that conversation to begin with. But it just happened when I went to buy a house. I had good credit. I had money saved up. But like that conversation typically doesn't happen until it's too late. And it's I need to do this, and you can't go back in the future or in the past, and and make up for that late that you honestly probably could have easily paid, or that credit card you didn't need to open, or that credit card that you closed and didn't realize that you've had this credit card for 5-6 years, and you closed the credit card, and now you lost 6 years of payment history. Now your credit score counterintuitively has gone down because you closed that credit score. So it's to talk to the kids in high school about that, and just being positive, being a mentor out there, and have someone that they can reach out to in case and in case they don't have that father or that mother figure out there to reach out to. They can reach out to us over at the Urban League, and it's always just good to have somebody outside of your parents who you can talk to about stuff you may not want to talk to your parents about anyway. So
right now, last year I had an opportunity to go out to the South Oak Cliff and talk to their collegiate academy. I'm gonna let you know, a lot of those kids are smart. They're bright, and they're gonna be receptive too. A lot of them will be receptive to what you guys have to say. So I think that's excellent that you're doing that and working with the organization to kind of get that content, to present that content, and get it out to our youth. And speaking on that, this is a perfect time for my shameless plug. Okay. If you're watching this on Facebook, I actually have a free, that's right, free 99 financial education guide that talks about understanding credit. I talk about the difference between saving and investing. We cover the difference between income and expenses, because when you do go get that loan, they are going to look at your debt to income ratio, if I'm not mistaken.
That's
they
correct.
will check that. So I talk about those things in that financial education guide. Click that link. You can go to my site, download it for free, share it with your friend, email it to your child or your spouse or whatever. It's free. Decent content, good content. It's 30-page PDF, so check that out. I appreciate that. So yeah, man, I think that's good that you guys are doing that. I wish I was a part of that, man. I need to hook up with y'all, man, and give back to it.
Okay, yeah. Are you part of the Urban League right now? Or? Yeah. So yeah, we could probably get you in the economic empowerment committee. We meet once.
That committee,
once a week. It's a good committee to be.
Yeah. That's what I need to do. I need to join that committee.
A lot of sharp folks on there. So yeah, and like I said, we're always looking for good folks like yourself. So yeah.
Yes, sir, man. Hey, y'all get involved, man. Don't just stand on the sideline. Get out there and get active, man. Make some things happen.
Yes, sir. When
is Veterans Day? Is it Monday, 11th?
The 11th thing is this Saturday, the 11th. Yeah. So yeah.
Saturday.
Yeah,
okay.
It's a day I don't gotta go to work. So.
Right. So, hey, Veterans Day is coming up. He was actually going to come on my show last week, but he said, hey, man, I'm a veteran. Let's move it to next week. I think that'd be a cool little segue. So that was one of the things that we skipped over. I did that intentionally, by the way, because right. I wanted to give back to that, because I think that's interesting that you went to the Naval Academy. My good friend, he's in the Navy. He's stationed out in Monterey, California right now.
Okay.
Monterey. We actually went out there a couple of months ago. That's San Francisco.
Okay, yeah. So I was out in San Francisco.
Yeah, I saw you out there too.
Yeah, nice.
All right. So you were in the Naval Academy, and then how long were you actively enlisted?
So I was actually an officer. So I was there for 5 years. So I was stationed in Norfolk for all 5 years. Went on 2 deployments. So I went over to the Mediterranean. So was
that beautiful?
Yeah,
I heard the Mediterranean.
Yeah, it's nice. In my 2 deployments, went to probably about 20 or so countries.
Wow. So can you just tell me a few of them? Because I'm wanting to get to the point where I'm traveling and seeing the world. I think a lot of my friends, like, they were in the Navy and they got that opportunity, although while they were working, but to go to those different places. Yeah. You can't beat it. Sort of free travel. Obviously, you pay what you're tired, but so right.
Been to countries, Italy, France. Why am I drawing a blank? Been to Germany, been to Estonia, been to Great Britain. Is that a country or that's the place? I forget which one is what.
England.
Yeah, been there. Been to Curacao in the Caribbean. Been to, I'm drawing a blank here. Italy, Rome. Been to Denmark. Been to Greece. Been to. Should have wrote these down. I counted out one day. It's about 21. Been to Hungary, been to. If there was a map, I could probably look at the map and kind of leave all the countries. Been to Spain.
But all this time you're on the ship, right?
Yeah. So you do a couple things for your deployment. One, sometimes you go out there and you set off the coast of some country and wait for something to kind of pop off. And so fortunately,
right.
I went on my 2 trips were diplomatic trips. So we went out there and based on diplomatic mission. You go out there and kind of wave the flag and go into countries and do a more diplomatic thing, just kind of put out their goodwill. And so actually my second deployment I went on to, which was a very, very unique deployment. So
tell us about
we went on deployment with this German ship. It was just us and one German ship. So typically got there with like a whole fleet, like an aircraft carrier, a couple of ships, and you kind of go out there as a squadron. And so we went out there with the one German ship. So we did half of their deployment, half of our deployment. So since they were from Germany, they deployed to the United States. And so I'm one of the few people that's been in deployment that actually slept in my own bed one night, because we deployed to like Nova Scotia, Boston, New York, Norfolk, Florida. We actually went to Miami on deployment. And so at that point, we went to Curacao, and then we went back over to the Mediterranean for the other half of the deployment. But
those deployments for like 6 months?
Yeah, correct. So when I was in the Navy, they were about 6 months. I think sometimes they're moving some out to like 6-8 months. Unfortunately, however you look at it. But got to see the world, which is pretty cool for me because I'm from the DC area, and I've pretty much been in that DC, Maryland, Virginia bubble.
DMV, baby.
Yeah. My whole life until I get out and got to see the world, got to experience different people from all over the world and from all over parts of the country, and that was another thing that kind of motivated me to see other parts of the world and kind of move, not Texas specifically, but kind of venture out to other parts of the world.
I agree. Traveling will make you want to do that. Like, man, I honestly don't feel like us as human beings are meant to stay in one place. Yeah. Like, we're on this beautiful earth. You need to see all of it, live in different places. If you want to stay in the Mediterranean or south of France for 2 months, then come back here. I think that's abundant living to me. But I think that's great that you got to travel because it just opens your eyes.
That's the exact phrase I'm going to use is eye opening. It's just there's stuff you don't realize out there. I mean, stuff like poverty. I mean, people here are poor, but over there they're like poor, like literally like dirt poor. Like you see
I've
stuff
said that before. Like first world poor and third world poor is like completely like people over here are poor like Dana rich. Yeah. Like you can be making $30,000 a year and like you're rich in some places. Yeah. And here you're like almost below poverty.
But yeah. Like I say, it's true poverty, and then just like there's just stuff you don't see, like going to. Seeing like ruins and stuff like that, going to Rome, seeing the Colosseum. Yeah. Obviously, our country hasn't been around, or we haven't been the United States of America that long. Right. And so there's just stuff like that that's not here, here in America that you just can't.
Older, years older.
Yeah.
I got you, man. Sounds like a dope experience. So when you were on these deployments, they did give you an opportunity to like get off the ship and like go look around and stuff.
Yeah. So you make port visits. So typically you're in port for like 2 or 3 days, and you get to go out and kind of see the sights. I mean that's kind of one of the perks of being on deployment. I mean it's not fun being on a ship, especially as me. I'm seasick. It's not fun
really?
It's not fun being. I won't say it's not fun. It's different. It's a different work environment. You're pretty much at work 24 hours because you're on a ship, so you're standing watching, but now you're pretty much always on call, and so that's kind of one of the rewards is you get to pull in port and kind of do your thing and get to enjoy other countries, other continents.
Yeah, my man Tyrone, who was in the Navy and on that ship, he really didn't like it that much, but he liked being on the ship and there's like so many different people on there. He was like, man, he liked the fact that he was one of those people that people like could come to him because he can get anything. Like he kind of knew some of everybody. Can you just talk about like the environment on that ship? Because you guys, I mean, you eat there, you eat with these people. It's men, women, everyone's doing different jobs. Just talk about that whole environment on the ship. What was that environment like?
So it's different, and so
I can imagine.
I've been on 2 different ships. One's a destroyer, about 300 people, and I've been on another ship. But another ship, an aircraft carrier, which has about 3,000 people. It's essentially like a floating office building. And so,
you said about 3,000?
Yeah, correct.
So that's way bigger.
Yeah. It's huge. And so it was actually named after George W. Bush, the president here from Texas. So that
first George W.
Yeah. So that unfortunately it actually never got underway. But so I got there like 6 months before it's supposed to deploy, and just delay. Nothing works fast in the government. So and that's when I was in Newport News in the shipyard over there. So it sat there for like a year and a half, and I was like, okay, it's time for me to get out the Navy.
Right.
And so, but so they're different departments. So you have like an operations department, a weapons department. You have a supply department. You have what's it called? I'll remember a little bit later. But you have different departments that do different things on the ship. So it's real kind of segmented. Everyone thinks what they do is the most important thing on the ship. And engineering was the other department. So the engineers will tell you, hey, what we do is most important because we can't get underway without the engines running on the ship, which is true. But then like the force protection of the weapons department would say, well, that's great, but you can't we're here because of us. You know, we're weapons. We have the weapons on the ship. You know, we're a warship, so you can't do anything without us. So then operations department would say, that's great, but we're doing all the scheduling, we're doing the coordinating, we're doing the refueling. So that's great, but you couldn't do anything without us. But then like the supply department who will say, okay, that's great, but you need to eat. We cook the food.
That's where I'd be at, like, y'all want to eat,
we cook the food, we order the supplies, we do all that, so you can't do anything without us. So everyone is super, like, I would say like segregated, but everyone's super regimented. They think their part of the ship is the most important thing, which and that just kind of shows that, you know, every part of the machine that can't move without the other. You know, you can try to eliminate this part or that department, but you're going to be hurt in some aspect or another. So it's just making sure everybody's is one unit kind of working together to achieve the goal. And also one thing I learned in the Navy as well is that, you know, no matter how important you're on the ship, if you leave, the machine is going to keep rolling. I mean, if the captain leaves the ship, things aren't going to stop. So me, you know, kind of 4 or 5 rungs down from the captain, if I leave from the ship, you know, the machine is going to keep moving. So
what department were you in?
So I was in operations. So when you're an officer first coming in, they want to move you around to a couple different departments so you can kind of experience different aspects of the ship. So I was in weapons, I was in engineering, and I was in operations, which it was interesting being in weapons because I never really handled weapons.
I've never handled weapons before in my life. I've never shot a gun at all.
Yeah, that was my. So I shot a gun for the first time at the Naval Academy because we had to do like weapons qualifications. But yeah, that was my first time really handling a gun. So not only was I in weapons department, I was in charge of training folks on how to use the weapons.
Really? What type of weapons? Like AR-15? What kind of weapons are we talking about? This sounds intriguing to me.
So you have a. This is how bad I moved with weapons. So I was in the department for 2 years, and I can't remember. I want to say it was a Beretta. We had as far as the handgun. As far as the long arm, we have a M16, which kind of looks like an AR-15. That's kind of the
M16.
Yeah, that's kind of the popular gun in the news for various reasons. And so you have the M16, and then you have a shotgun. You have I think it's a Mossberg shotgun.
I've heard of that.
So you have
like in a rap song.
Yeah. So and maybe that's where I'm thinking of it.
Right.
And so you have the shotgun. So those are kind of the main guns on the ship. You have other guns like that are mounted like the 50 cal. Right. Those bullets are like this big. Like those are some huge bullets. So you can hit one of those, it's kind of a wrap. And so you have that. Those are like the guns and the weapons that we train. Gotcha. And I was supposed to train folks on the ship. Right. By training, it means that basically I go to the folks that they kind of work for me, and they who are kind of the subject matter experts, and they kind of they train them. I'm more like the admin saying, hey, did you do this qualification? But yeah, it was an interesting experience. Like I say, never dealing with guns ever in my life. And all of a sudden, my first job was you're in charge of training the ship on 300 people on weapons qualifications and gun handling and all that. But yeah, I haven't held a gun or shot a gun since I left the Navy. Or actually, I've held a gun once since I left the Navy. That was actually about 4 months ago. I went into some store. Me and my wife and I were thinking about buying something for self-defense.
Hey,
and so,
for real, you never know what's going to happen. This is a crazy world, so sometimes it might not be bad to be able to protect yourself.
But yeah, I couldn't even remember how to take off the safety, so I was just like, yeah.
Right, I got you, man. So now my friend also said there's a lot of crazy things that went on the ship. Can you tell us any stories that are not too explicit?
Yeah, and so
when anyone that stands out.
Yeah, I would say now maybe because kind of like Russia is obviously in the news, and our news a lot in our Facebook and our everywhere.
Right.
And so one thing I kind of knew a long time ago is like kind of some of the spying that goes on. And so one thing they briefed us on before we went on the ship was that, you know, hey, when you're underway, when you deploy, you're going to see these ships out in the water, and they look like small fishing vessels,
right,
except for the fact that they have like 2,000 antennas hanging off of them. And so like, you're on the ocean, international waters, you can do what you want to do, but like I'm sure they, I don't know who they were, what country they claim. They don't have a bunch of flags on them. Right. But yeah, so they'll sit out in the ocean and just like I guess they try to tap into your communication, try to break code, and all that. So you end up seeing one of those ships out there, and so just to go even further with that, and so in Russia's kind of our friend as far as we're concerned as far as military operations. So we work with other Russian ships do operations and exercise and share some intel. And so this didn't happen to me directly, but one of the guys on the ship who worked in our sonar part of the ship, and that's a very top secret part. I don't even know what goes on in there. You need a certain clearance to work down there. And so they invited.
What's it called? The sonar?
Yeah, sonar.
Okay.
And so they track the submarines and all that.
Right.
And so they invited some people over to their ship to kind of see their ship. And they kind of did it at a random. But so they ended up inviting the sonar guy over to the ship, just kind of check things out on their ship, experience their ship, look at things. And so on a Navy ship you can't drink. I guess in a Russian ship you guys can do whatever you want. And so and so they took them over there, and I guess they had lunch, and they got some liquor and so on. And so I guess he was just like, hey, I'm when in Rome, and so I guess he started drinking. And so I don't know what I'm not accusing the Russians of spiking his drink or whatever, but I guess I am. But so they put something into his I don't know, maybe he drank too much, I don't know, but basically he got kind of a little bit too off kilter. And so it's the last thing he says he kind of remembers, fortunately, was that they were trying to pry him and trying to ask him all this information about how the sonar works, and basically they're trying to pry top secret information out of him onto the ship. And so I don't know what happened after that, but I just know because I found out kind of tangentially that he had to go to do some other sort of debrief and kind of talk about what the Russians were kind of trying to pry out of him as far as if he spilled any top secret beings. Hopefully not. He was still on the ship, so I guess not. So
right. So you couldn't drink on there? No, you weren't supposed to.
Yeah. So I mean, on a U.S. ship, you're not supposed to drink because not technically, but you're on duty when you're on the ship. So you're not allowed to drink. And so I kind of had my so I experienced that a little bit myself as well in one of our port calls. I can't remember where we're at. It was either like Estonia or Poland. Estonia, Poland. Like they all blur together. And so I actually remember I was at like a bar one night. I'm not like a huge drinker either, and so I remember I was kind of like once again, when in Rome, you kind of do some drinking. You at the bar, you trying to look cool. And so I just remember I was drinking. Like I said, I'm not a heavy drinker, so I don't imagine I would have gotten wasted like easily. But I just remember I was drinking, and just like something like hit me. And so so once again, it's kind of one of those last things I remember was that one of my shipmates was like kind of grabbing me and pulling me away, because I guess some guys were trying to like walk away with me, and they said they would kind of keep an eye on me because they were trying to pry me for information about ship's movement, this or that. Right. And so so luckily they grabbed me and just kind of pushed them away to me. But they told me after the fact the other guys were trying to pry me for information, this and that, and trying to pry stuff out of me. So I can't imagine me like just a random kind of low ranking person in the Navy. If they're prying me for that, I can't imagine all the espionage and stuff that goes on out there in the world with the folks that really know the secrets. I mean, I couldn't have told them much.
But, man, I really know where we're going.
Yeah. So I can't imagine all the espionage that goes out there. Folks trying to pry information out of me and other kind of low ranking officers out of the Navy.
That's some shit you see on movies on like Jason Bourne.
Yeah.
Man, well, I appreciate you again so much for coming on, man. Before we wrap up, the last question, before I do my rapid fire questions, which is just my quick question, you give me the quickest answer to come to your head.
All right.
What does David Barr want to accomplish before we head into 2018? What are your goals on these last 2 months in this year?
My goals I'm talking slow so I can give myself some time. So I'd say honestly, help a few more folks get a home.
Right.
So this November, December is kind of a slow time frame. So I got my eyes on trying to meet basic production goals as far as personally. So I'd say that as far as a personal professional goal is just work. Try to get some more wins under the belt for myself and home buyer. So
got you, man. No doubt. Keep working on it, man. Get out here and meet some people.
Yeah.
All right, man. These rapid fire questions, man. So just give me the first answer that comes to your head. You've been to a lot of different countries through the Navy. What's one country that you haven't been to that you do want to visit?
This is a slow answer. I would say someplace in Africa. I guess I don't really have a country in mind, but I'd say someplace in Africa. I've only been to one country in Africa so far.
Got you. Christmas time is coming up. What's one gift that you want the wifey to get you?
Honestly, I'm not even a big present guy. I don't really celebrate my birthday, but I would say a blazer. I need some new clothes. Maybe,
Got you. Hey, gotta stay fresh. In the business that we're in, on Drew Television, who's the next guest that you're gonna be interviewing?
That's a good question. So I have some folks lined up, and I've kind of pushed things. I want to kind of revamp things, start again in 2018. So I have some folks in my but my next guest is going to be my wife, actually.
Okay.
And so she's a benefits expert. It's going to talk to her about benefits. It's enrollment season. So my wife's the next guest.
It is enrollment season, right?
Yeah.
Okay. She's in benefits.
Yeah. She does benefits. I'm not sure what to say, but she does benefits for like the city of Dallas, Fort Worth, McKinney. So she's a sharp person.
That's good, man. You got to keep smart people around you. Speaking on that, if there was one smart person or business person that you would want to meet in person and pick their brain, who would that be?
So my initial answer is Gary V. But honestly, he has enough content out there that I probably can figure it out myself.
He does that.
But yeah, I'll go with Gary.
Yeah.
Gary V. Yeah.
All right. I said I wasn't gonna bring this up again, but I guess I will. The Redskins make the playoffs or don't make the playoffs?
Oh yeah, they're gonna make the playoffs easy.
You think so?
Yeah, because we got a couple of layup games. We got 2 games against the Giants. We're gonna beat you guys on Thanksgiving. So that's 3.
That's out here, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's 3 W's right there, and then so we're hitting our stride. Always gotta have faith. I posted back at beginning of the season, the Redskins going 10-6. So
10-6. What's your record right now?
4-4. So we're hitting our stride.
Hey.
I also posted the Eagles are going 6-10, so that might be a little bit off.
Right,
so.
right. Well, I like your optimism. Ladies and gentlemen, this has been my guest, David Ball. Yes, man. Yes. Again, I do appreciate you for coming on here. And again, if you guys are checking us out on Facebook, make sure you follow his Facebook pages. Check them out. Check him out on Drew Television.
Yes.
And if you guys know anyone that me and him, either one of us could interview that's in the real estate industry, entrepreneurs or anything, or anyone that's doing things out here that are positive.
Yeah, just an interesting person.
Yeah, interesting person. Contact us, comment us, message us, and holla at us. Again, bro, I appreciate you.
Oh, thanks for having me.
Yes, sir. We're going to take a quick break. We're going to go out here and get a quick photo. When I come back, I'm going to go over 5 different investment categories. 5 different investment categories that you want to be aware of, especially if you have a 401k, an IRA, or if you're doing any type of investing, saving for retirement. You want to check this out. So give me a few ticks. We'll be right back. In the meantime, what I want to play? Hey, let's do the internet. Y'all probably don't even know about the internet. So y'all check them out. Fast Lane.